Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Welcome everyone to the special edition of MMA Weekly of Austin and Chef Dan. I am Austin, my co-host Chef Dan, and a lot happened since we recorded our previous breakdown of this pay-per-view. A lot of shit happened.
Yeah, a lot happened in the span of like a day and a half, where we thought one card was what it was. You even have the commercials being ran for it right now as we speak, but it's not reliable information because Dana White had to change some things. So without ado, Austin, let's get right into it. What is the big news that occurred, yesterday and that really bled into today?
Okay, so start with yesterday. Yesterday, as most UFC fans know, Thursdays of the pay-per-view week is always a press conference where the fighters at the press conference, they ask the media some questions, fans do sometimes, and well, it didn't happen. Dana White canceled it, which is a first. I believe it's the first time they ever canceled a press conference. Because what happened was Kevin Holland and Khamzat Chimaev got into a little spat, and it turns out Khamzat Chimaev kicked Kevin Holland in the chest. And that was one thing. And also, Khamzat Chimaev's crew, Nate Diaz's crew, ended up getting at each other because T. Golson, who's a manager of some fighters, was talking to Khamzat and this, trying to calm him down. And I guess Diaz's crews took that as him, Tiki's signing with Khamzat, and then Diaz's crew started throwing stuff at Tiki Golson, like water bottles and all kinds of things at him. Kind of like what, the infamous McGregor-Diaz press conference in the rematch where they drew water bottles at each other, etc. And the thing was, Nate Diaz rode deep. You want to talk about rolling deep, that turn. Nate Diaz rode deep with 50-plus people in his crew. Which is ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. I'm surprised he has a crazy of a posse that big. And not only that, but also Khamzat Chimaev had 30-something people in his crew as well. So you can see why Dana White wanted to cancel the press conference, because if they're there and the crew's backstage, all types of crazy shit could break down to where fights can break down to the stands and etc. And I mean, Dana White, if you listen to his interview with the media after canceling the press conference, he looked like he had PTSD from the whole McGregor and Khabib situation of 2018, Ruby the Dolly incident before UFC 223, and then of course the infamous 229 brawl afterwards. I mean, it was chaotic. So that was Thursday. And anything else you want to add to that before I mention what happened today?
No, it kind of just I just want to say for Khamzat, he put out a video. He said that Kevin Holland got what he deserved and that Nate was going to get his next. And so it kind of got me a little bit more fired up to get into the card that's going to happen tomorrow. But then news breaks today as Khamzat is not able to make weight for the fight.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you finish your point. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, I was just saying that Khamzat wasn't able to make weight. He came in overweight, and Dana was looking for ways to replace him as a fighter or just find another route to look for. What were some of the ways that he was looking for as the news came across to you, Austin?
According to Ariel Helwani, that, and I think other sources, the UFC called Dustin Poirier to step in and fight Nate Diaz. And Poirier had a picture of himself at 176. As in, like, you know, basically, like, he could cut down to 170 and fight potentially Nate Diaz. Now, if you know Dustin Poirier and Nate Diaz do have history, they were supposed to fight like almost 4 years ago, November 2018, but Dustin pulled out, and since then, Nate's talked a lot of crap about Dustin, and vice versa. We know those two guys do not like each other at all, and the UFC was considering it to the point where they have like a jet ready for Poirier to fly him out to Vegas if that fight got done, but it didn't. And yeah, Khamzat was like 7.5 pounds overweight. Like, he basically, he was 7.5 pounds over the weight limit, which is 171, a non-title fight to make a 170 basically. And apparently, according to Ariel Helwani, mentioned that he was Chimaev missed weight so much is because a medical issue. To Ariel, it was unclear what and how that affects him long term. This is what Ariel put out 140 today, or technically yesterday, because it's midnight East Coast. It's Saturday, the day of the fight. But you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So we don't know. So go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
But it's conflicting reports because there's a fan who said that she ran to Khamzat Chimaev and at restaurants and hours before like the weigh-ins, and he was drinking sparkling water and eating food, and she was wondering if you know how it's going to affect Khamzat in terms of weight cuts. Also, so I mean, I don't know how much he was eating. It may have been just a small meal, but I don't know.
Well, either which way, some things were changed on the card due to these circumstances. They almost, ended up not giving Khamzat a fight at all, but Nate was able to persuade Dana and the matchmakers into doing something where we have a changed card. This is the first time, I believe, in UFC history where the opponents on the card have just kind of done a round robin real quick and just exchanged opponents. So on the new updated card for UFC 279, we have at the main event Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson in the welterweight division. I'm excited for this one. This is a really good fight. I'm excited for this. I think this fight stylistically makes way better sense than what we would have seen between Nate Diaz and Khamzat Chimaev. It's Tony versus Nate. It's two strikers. Both of these guys get bloody. Both of these guys are highly unorthodox. So it's going to be a showdown. I'm excited for this one. What do you see in this fight?
I'm much more excited for this main event than the previous one with Khamzat and Nate. This is actually a much more competitive fight because both guys are strikers, and both guys tend to draw a lot more volume as well. So you have two volume strikers. Now both are different because Nate's more boxing. Tony's more like, different types of strikes, especially using elbows and things like that in the clinch. And both guys are very tough guys. I know Tony's coming off that knockout loss to Michael Chandler 4 months ago now. But Nate Diaz is not exactly a powerful fighter like the Leech was for Tony Ferguson. I mean, I'm more excited about the co-main event than the current one than the other one, considering Tony Ferguson's not fighting a power puncher who has knockout ability like he was against the Leech. And this is going to be, I think, a scrap, back and forth scrap potentially. I think both guys are going to definitely hit each other with some shots. I know And I know some people might worry about the fact that Tony was supposed to fight was only 3 rounds. Now it's a 5-rounder. But Tony Ferguson's always known for his conditioning. That's one of the things about him that made him so damn successful throughout his career was his conditioning, especially one that win streak. And Nate Diaz, we know he's got good conditioning. The guy likes to train triathlons, etc. So he's conditioning. He's one of the best in all the UFC. And I think both guys' conditioning is going to be good, very well. It's going to be a lot of striking. Nate Diaz doesn't have to worry about takedowns and wrestling like he would with Khamzat. And I think Tony Ferguson should win the fight. I know Tony's a slight advantage. That's why here, but the one thing I do wonder is that Nate Diaz does scar up a lot easy compared to other fighters, and Tony Ferguson loves throwing those elbows, which can lead to a lot of cuts around the eyebrow area and face, etc. I do wonder how many cuts will Nate Diaz have going into this fight, considering Tony loves throwing them elbows. And I think for Tony Ferguson, and this is a better matchup for him at 170, especially he's going to stay there versus the Leech. I mean, Li Jinglang. And it's kind of crazy this fight was never made or even thought about made till now, because both guys were in lightweight for a long time and were contenders. I mean, Nate Diaz, after the ceremonial weigh-ins, was saying how happy, he was kind of happy he was fighting him. Like, this should have happened a long time ago. If you listened to the ceremonial weigh-ins earlier today. So I'm glad this is happening. It's better now than never, considering this is Nate Diaz's last fight on his contract. And you got to give Nate Diaz credit, because Nate Diaz could have easily just taken the show money and just been out of his contract, because all you got to do is show up. I mean, if it's in the UFC contracts, if your opponent doesn't make weights, you can choose to not fight your opponent. You get your show money, and then Nate Diaz could have been a free agent. He could have done that, but instead he chose to take the fight someone I'm pretty sure he likes and respects, Tony Ferguson, someone that gets him excited. I mean, let's be honest, I think both guys get each other more excited than probably their previous opponents, although Tony was probably motivated already, considering he wanted to bounce back from that loss and move a weight class, and I'm pretty sure Nate was motivated somewhat by Khamzat, but I think both guys get each other more pumped up, more excited for the matchup. And I think we're going to see a very entertaining fight in the main event. I mean, this main event's a better one than the Khamzat and Nate. I mean, I like this main event.
Yeah, it's a great main event, and following it up is the co-main event. This one is more of a catch weight. Khamzat Chimaev versus Kevin Holland. This matchup, I'm not too much of a fan of. I know what Khamzat is going to do against Kevin. I know Kevin's a bad grappler, so that's what Khamzat's going to come in to do. And not only that, as much as Khamzat was able to change the event and things of that nature, this man really didn't make weight. That was irresponsible on his behalf. So, I mean, I'm going to watch the fight. It's not like I'm going to enjoy it any less or anything, but do I look at Khamzat a little bit differently now than that killer who's on the rise and doing everything correctly? Yeah, that image definitely changed with this one. But what do you see in this fight, Austin?
I mean, I'm like two guys who don't like each other, who probably want to beat each other up. I see that. But honestly, as Kevin Holland's got a lot of power in his shots, we know he's a powerful guy. I mean, he's definitely, we've seen it at middleweight and at welterweight. I mean, look what he did with Joaquin Buckley. He knocked him out. Joaquin Buckley took some great shots from Imanov last week in Paris. And also, he done Tim Means and Alex Oliveira at welterweight. But both of those guys were able to take Holland down, especially Tim Means a couple of times in their fight back in June in Austin, Texas. And Khamzat's a great wrestler, very great wrestler. And if Tim Means and Alex Oliveira have success taking him down, then Khamzat Chimaev should have a much better chance of taking Holland down, doing damage. The thing is, and also, for Tori and Derek Brunson took him down, he had a hard time getting up. But those guys didn't exactly present him with any submission danger or even ground and pound. Khamzat's not like that. Khamzat will try to go for a ground pound finish or get a submission victory. And I think Khamzat will get a second round submission victory, in my opinion. I think Holland might do enough just to survive. I'm pretty sure Khamzat in his mind's probably remembering what Holland did at Jacare when he was on the bottom, knocking him out, despite being on bottom position and Jacare being on top position. But I think Khamzat will be able to survive the first round, do some damage to Holland, and then possibly lead to the second round, maybe get a submission there. Khamzat knows he's the better grappler. He should use it to his advantage and go out and get the victory. And I like this fight because these are two guys, same division, who don't like each other, who want to fight each other, who basically started the whole escalation that caused the fight to get canceled. And I mean, not the fight, the press conference to get canceled. My apologies. So I think it's a good matchup. I think makes sense. It's kind of, I like it. It's a good call for the UFC. I'm excited for it. Both guys, exciting guys. And in some weird way, I'm kind of thankful to Khamzat for missing weight. I almost want to thank him because he made his card more interesting and better matchups, in my opinion. In some ways, it's weird. It's a weird thing with me. Normally, I'll be upset with Khamzat in a situation like this, but I think a lot of people are happier with the pay-per-view itself. It's like he unintentionally did us a favor, if that makes sense. Not saying he should miss weight all the time. Don't do that. But in this case, he did us a favor. That's all I'm going to put it.
All right. I can understand where you're coming from. And with that being said, we can get into the third and final change matchup. It is in the welterweight. Well, this might be a catchweight as well. Li Jinglang, the Leech, versus Daniel Rodriguez. I'm interested in this one too. Like this is strikers galore here too. I expect these two guys, they're not coming in here to grapple. They're coming in here to strike with each other. The Leech, he was on time. He was pristine with his presentation at the press conference. It was just too bad he wasn't able to go up there. A lot of people made note of how the Leech, he even was practicing his English. So I'm excited for this fight as well, as to see what comes out of this fight. Austin, what do you see from this one?
I gotta give the Leech credit and Daniel Rodriguez as well for taking this fight, because they could have turned it down, considering both guys were preparing for different styles, for different opponents, etc. But they took it, and thankfully they did. And I felt bad for the Leech because the Leech bought nice suits that he was excited about. His second press conference and his first time in a bigger role as a co-main event of pay-per-view. Because remember last year in the Abu Dhabi card in October, he was in that press conference, but with Khamzat Chimaev. But this time it was a lot more focus on him compared to that one, considering he's in the co-main event. And he couldn't wear a suit, which kind of sucked for him, considering he got tailor-made, etc. But at least he's going to fight on a pay-per-view card and go against Daniel Rodriguez. And Rodriguez, who hasn't fought in a while, is still going to be able to fight. And so it's good that both of them are still able to fight. And you got to give all six guys, Rodriguez, Li Jinglang, Ferguson, Nate Diaz, and Holland and Khamzat credit for taking these fights and stay on the card. But with that said, I got Li Jinglang, the Leech, win this fight, because if you look at Daniel Rodriguez in the weigh-ins, like his body didn't look like someone that was ready for a fight. Honestly, the weight, it was a catch weight. Him and Holland was at 180, and he didn't look like a guy whose body looked like he was ready to fight. And Daniel Rodriguez is not going to exactly take Li Jinglang down. He's not exactly a wrestler. That's how you can win against Leech, just taking him down a lot and doing success on the ground, kind of like Khamzat did back in October. But Li Jinglang was taken out by Muslim Salikov in his last fight in July. He was able to get up, so he was kind of working on his grappling, but still, it's still a weakness, and Daniel Rodriguez is not going to do that. He's a striker. I think he's a boxer, if I'm mistaken. I know he's a striker. And Li Jinglang is a great power puncher. He's a great striker. And I think Rodriguez will, at times, can't leave himself open to get hits. And against the Leech, you can't do that because he can knock you out. I mean, look, we did the Muslim Salikov and Santiago Ponzinibbio. Ponzinibbio, a good striker who left his chin open at times, and he got caught, and that's how he got finished back in 2000, I think January of last year, if I'm mistaken. And I think that will happen
around there.
Yeah, and I think that's going to happen here. I think Daniel Rodriguez is going to leave himself open to getting caught by the Leech, Li Jinglang, and probably knocked down, probably TKO finish potentially. And I'm born with the Leech. Plus, the Leech is
Yeah,
better competition too. Go ahead.
I'm gonna agree with you there completely. I think the Leech is I think he's a better striker than Daniel too. And not only that, when you take into account, like you said, Daniel Rodriguez's shape going into the weigh-in, and the other thing too is, the one thing that I think we all have to take for granted is that we're all taking for granted is we know that the opponent's a switch, but these aren't the guys who these guys have prepared for. So now everyone late night is doing a scramble, and we're going to see who has the best fighter IQ out of all 6 of these guys. Who looks the best having to scramble and make a new adjustment and a whole new plan with what the tools you've already shaping to deal with a problem that, doesn't require maybe those set of tools. So we shall see. This is very, very interesting, and I'm excited for this card all the more.
I am too. And I think everything that's happened Thursday and today, or technically yesterday because it's at midnight here, I think it's the interest in the pay-per-view has gone up for a lot of people. I bet you the pay-per-view sales do go up because of this. You got Nate Diaz in the main event still against Tony Ferguson. 2 legends fighting each other. Both guys towards the end of their careers. Now, at different points, Nate's more closer to the end than Tony, but still, older guys finally get to see this fight. It's a good thing. Because if it weren't the case, it'd be one of those dream fights that go, man, why didn't that happen? But we're getting it. And you got 2 guys who don't like each other, and Holland and Chimaev selling their beef. And then also you got Li Jinglang against Daniel Rodriguez. And for Rodriguez, this is a bigger fight, arguably, than even Holland. Holland has the name recognition, but the Leech, Li Jinglang, is ranked. He's ranked number 14. If Rodriguez can somehow beat the Leech, he might be ranked and get bigger fights than he would if he beat Kevin Holland. If you think about it,
I agree with you. A lot of these fights are they're a lot better as far as for their respective careers. Some of these fights are a lot better for their respective careers. How it went down is surprising. Maybe this could be a marketing ploy that Dana could, use somewhere along the lines where maybe he knows the correct card, but he's kind of he's willing to change it last minute, try and do some marketing ploy there. There's a possibility, man. We shall see, because this is a first. This is really a first where we came in expecting one thing, and just the night before we're getting 3 completely different things, but with all the same fighters on the card.
Yeah, this is a first I think in UFC history. This is a first. It's crazy. I mean, this sport is the most crazy, most unpredictable damn sport. It reminded you of this. This week reminded us of that fact. Excuse me, and then yeah, man. It makes it's stuff like this that makes me kind of love the unpredictability of the UFC and MMA, but also recognize that sometimes it can be a bad thing as well. But it turned out to be a good thing, and no other sport do you get stuff like this. You're not going to get in basketball, football, baseball, hockey, soccer, maybe boxing. Maybe. I feel like MMA is the only sport where you can get stuff like this. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but this is exciting, man. Is there anything else you just want to add to this?
Yeah. Yes, actually. Khamzat Chimaev was not the only fighter to miss weight. Hakeem Dawodu missed weight as well, and so did Chris Barnett. So it was 3 guys who missed weight, and also the women's featherweight fight between Norma Dumont and Danielle Wolf. Both ladies almost missed weight. They made it the 146 limit, but both of them was missed weights. Both of them seemed like had a hard time getting the weight down, and both of them had required the curtain where they had to take all their clothes off underneath the curtain to make the weight, which they both did, but they were close to missing the weight also. So it wasn't just Ham. It was also Chris Barnett missed weight, Hakeem Dawodu missed weight, and 2 ladies in the featherweight matchup had a hard time making weight, but both of them did. And also, I think the women's bantamweight fight between Irene Aldana and Macy Chiasson got bumped to the catchweight at 140. Both of them made it weight, but it wasn't 135.
Okay. All right. So then seems like a lot of these, you know what? Seems like a lot of these fighters didn't take the prep seriously because they didn't make weight. But then again, I'm just hoping for a good card at that point.
Yeah, it's just a good card at that point. I agree. And like I said, the two women featherweights did make weight. They made 145 limit, so the 146 allowance, they did it. It was just, it seemed like they had a harder time than usual, but they made it at least. But yeah, I see. But you're right about your point there.
All right. Any last thoughts on this new and improved card?
Awesome. Can't wait. And part of me is thankful to Khamzat Chimaev for this in a weird way. And I was making a joke about if you guys follow what's going on in pro wrestling, if you watch my dad's wrestling show, Heal the Ring podcast, you know what happened in AEW this past Sunday and the brawl that happened there. And my joke was the AEW All Out inspired the UFC fighters with the whole press conference cancellation. It was almost like, we can't let these pro wrestlers outshine us in backstage shenanigans. We got, it's almost like they had to think, in a joking way. That's just a joke, but it kind of felt that way.
Nah, I agree with you there. I guess that's what, but then again, Dana White openly said that he took the model for the business from the WWE, so you wanted backstage shenanigans to get backstage shenanigans.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just crazy shit. Especially when you found out about the freaking crew, Diaz's crew and Khamzat's crew, having all those people. It's like, damn. And then Paulo Costa was at the backstage in the press conference as well. We all know Khamzat and Paulo almost got an incident on Monday. I don't know what.
Yeah,
I don't know. Go ahead.
It just seems like it's a lot of people going after Khamzat Chimaev. A lot of them are saying they don't like the way he acts and that all this gangster stuff is just an act he puts on for the camera. But the dude is skilled. One thing they can't deny is that the skill is there. So we shall see. This Saturday, what happens between Khamzat and Kevin Holland.
Yeah, we shall see. Thankfully, Darren Till didn't get hurt. Darren Till was there with Khamzat supporting his boy. I think he's going to be his corner. And I know Holland and Darren were kind of getting like somewhat in arguments afterwards. But yeah, we'll also see Saturday what happens in this pay-per-view. I'm excited. It's less than 24 hours from the time we're recording this video. So we're out to wait that long, thankfully. Excited for this. Let's go.
Get right into it. Yeah, but from everyone here, thank you guys so much for joining us on this emergency broadcast, because we first were gonna do it with the weight change, but the spirits above have different plans. Austin had some things to take care of, but luckily we were able to wait long enough that this news was able to come out and we didn't have to do another video on top of that. But yeah, man, this is awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Austin, any last words to the people?
Thank you guys for watching and listening to us on YouTube, Rumble, podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, Spreaker, Reason FM. Appreciate love, support, and let's go UFC. Can't wait for Saturday, this upcoming pay-per-view today actually, and can't wait till Tuesday hopefully to break it down, this card. And man, the sport is crazy. Oh, never forget that. Sport is pretty damn unpredictable. Never forget that.
Yep.
I'm Austin, the chef. Go ahead.
Yep. Yeah. Austin, Chef Dan, just want to say thank you guys and peace out. Have a safe night.
Have a safe night and see you guys soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are